I have made this video 4 times. If I have to make this video again, I am not going to be happy. Hey everybody, I'm Katie, welcome to the Book Buddies, and today's video is going to be my January wrap-up and my February TBR. So, for the month of January, I read 5 books and 3 manga, and out of the books that I read, 4 of them were in my TBR. The other one kind of replaced one of the books of my TBR, and then the manga were just because I got them in the mail and I was like, I want to read these, so I read them. Anyway, on to the books that I read. First book I read was The Blue Door by Krista Kind. This is a story about a girl who lives in a rural area. Rural, that's a hard word to say, rural. Anyway, rural area. The more I say it, the less it sounds like a word. She lived in a rural area, and she saw a boy that apparently nobody else could see, and some weird things start happening. And this is a Christian story about angels and demons, and a little girl that somehow has something to do with it. I don't know. There's like a war brewing, I think. It's a good story. It has a very interesting take on angels, so if you want to see like a I don't know, I've never seen somebody make angels this way. It's odd. But if you're interested, this is the first book in a series. It's got a 4-book series. That's why it's so short, and that's also why I only gave it 3 stars. I would have given it a little bit more if it was a little longer, I think. And there were a couple things in it that bothered me. One of them being that, like most YA Christian novels, the characters were a little bit unrealistic, a little bit too goody-goody, if you know what I mean. And they were, well, really that's about one of the only reasons that I had for not liking it quite as much as that. And she says long-suffering sigh way too often. She says it like 4 times in the book, but with a phrase like that in a book this size, it's a little bit much. Anyway, it was a very entertaining book. I would recommend it for those of you who like this kind of story about angels, demons, fighting stuff. Yes. The next book I read, which I did not finish and never will, is Gillian Flynn Gone Girl. If you want to know my thoughts about this book, I'll leave my rant in the down bar because I'm not going to talk about it. Just no. The next book I read, I actually finished a couple days before I said that I finished, or a couple days before, no, after. A couple days after I finished it on GOODREADS because I accidentally clicked that I had finished it and I didn't feel like fixing it. And it is The Silmarillion by J.R.R. Tolkien and edited by Christopher Tolkien. I actually can't give any stars or ratings for this book, and because although I did enjoy it, I only understood about 1/4 of what was actually going on. That 1/4 that I understood, I enjoyed, but I can't say, if I don't understand it, I can't really give it a star rating, can I? I'm gonna have to reread this again sometime with the audiobook going, and then maybe I'll be able to say the words and understand what's going on a little better, be able to follow the story a little better. But if you like Tolkien and you have a really, really good grasp of his writing style, things that he, like the way he says things, what stuff means, all that stuff, I keep saying stuff, anyway, you should read this if you enjoy Tolkien that much. I do, but I don't have the vocabulary. Next book I read was the book club book of the month, which was The Hobbit by the Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien as well. If you've watched our videos for any period of time, you'll know that I absolutely love this story, so obvious 5 out of 5 stars. Amazing characters and story as always. As always. Love it. Yeah. don't know what else to tell you, because it's just... The next book I read is the book that kind of pushed a couple of books out of, or a book out of my TBR, and it is a book that I borrowed from Kayleen, and it is Leaving Time by Jodi Picoult. That is right, it is pronounced Pico. I've been saying Picoult, like, most of the month, and then I saw a thing on YouTube with her in it, and I clicked it, and it said, Jodi Picoult, and I was like, whoa, I didn't know that was how you pronounce that. But anyway, this was an enjoyable book. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars, as usual. As usual. What? I don't even know about that one. But this is a story about a girl whose mother went missing a few years back, and she's trying to find her mom. She disappeared from an elephant sanctuary. Her mom's very obsessed with elephants. And in trying to find her mother, she meets gets the help of some odd people. And it's a very interesting story. It's very fun. It's kind of slow, but I think that that's how most contemporaries are. They're not action-packed, so they're a little bit slower. The writing style was very good. I really enjoyed the writing style because it's from 4 different points of view and perspectives, and it's obvious that that's the person that is telling the story when they're telling the story. It's actually really interesting. I really liked it. I did. The ending. I'm not going to tell you what the ending was, but it's a very... what? Kind of ending. Like, you're not expecting it at all. I was really confused for a couple minutes after finishing. Still really good, though. Still really good. Read it. I'm not good at this thing. Anyway, the last 3 books that I read were the graphic novel mangas, and they were Zatch Bell Volume 1, Zatch Bell Volume 2, and Zatch Bell Volume 3 by Makoto Raiku. This is a story about a boy, or a junior high student, named Kiyo, who's got a bit of an inflated ego. He's a little bit of a jerk. He's very intelligent, and because he's very intelligent, people don't really like him because they think he's showing off when he goes to school, so he just stops going to school and he has no friends. And his dad in England decides to send him a strange kid named Zatch Bell as kind of a birthday present to teach him how to have friends and to be a little bit nicer to people. And this kid, Zatch Bell, has no memories except for when Kiyo's father found him in the woods. Before then, he doesn't have any memory. And along with this boy comes a mysterious red book of spells, and that's when some weird things start happening when they realize that it's got spells in it. And I love this story because, one, I used to watch the anime adaptation when I was a kid, and I just loved I loved it. It was such a good story when I was a kid, and it still is one now. And it's so fun. I love Raiku's art style. Like, it's just so, it goes from being super intense to being like the dorkiest thing in the world. Let me try and find here's a like super intense moment, that one. And then let's see if I can find a super dorky moment. Quickly, without it taking forever, because I don't want to take forever. Ooh, there's a super dorky moment in this one. It's not really, I'm not going to show you any spoiler things or anything like that, so don't worry about that. I have no reason to show you spoilers. So, that. Look at that. It goes from being like really intense to being super dorky in like seconds, and it's so much fun. It fits the story perfectly. The characters are really well done. Kiyo is just a jerk, and Zatch is hilarious and awkward, and it's just a great story. If you like comic, manga stuff, read these. Just read them. You can only get the first 25 volumes in English, but you can read them on the internet, I'm sure. I'm sure of it. Okay, on to my TBR, but first let me show you the books that I am currently reading, which are the ones that I'm always currently reading, and it is The Pirate's Wish by Cassandra Rose Clark. I actually finally started this one. I read to halfway in about a day and a half, and I haven't been reading the last couple days, so this one should be finished pretty soon, because once I start reading it, I'm just going to plow through and finish. Second one, as always, is The Magician by Michael Scott. I've got about 50 pages farther into this one, so there's that. And then lastly, for ones that I've started, I've got Eon by Alison Goodman. I read about 100 pages more, and honestly, if I would just hunker down and read, I would probably be able to finish this quickly, but Netflix is going to be the end of me. Anyway, and then I read the prologue to this book, so I technically started it. But with this book though, I'm going to let myself have a couple of months, at least a month or so, or at least 2 months to finish, because it is a very long book and it's a very hard book to read from what I can tell. So yeah, so I'm fine if I don't finish this one this month. I'll be okay with that. The others, on the other hand, I need to finish. It's just ridiculous. It's been, what, 3 months? 4 months? Stupid. And finally, for last book, the only book that I haven't actually started that I plan on reading this month is The Arithmetist by Brandon Sanderson. Yeah, this was one of the books that I pulled out from my TBR jar last month, because I also pulled out two, this one and the Blue Door. So I'll be reading this one this month, and it is, from what I can tell, it's supposed to be like, ooh, there's a map. I didn't know there was a map. The United Isles? Huh. It's all of America turned into islands. Cool. It's even got Texas. I'm from Texas. Sorry. Anyway, I've heard that this is supposed to be a book kind of like a mixture between Pokemon and something else. It's like Pokemon with chalk, I think is what Reagan from Peru's Project said. So, I've never watched Pokemon, but I kind of get the gist of what it is. It's like people fighting with animals, I think. Anyway, those are the books that I have planned to read this month, and even though The Arithmetist is a TBR jar pick, I'm going to pick another TBR jar pick. I need to do... hopefully not get one that I've already read, because I need to go through here and pull those out. Oh! I got an Arabian Nights tale. Dang it. The Tale of the Fisherman and the Genie. Not that I don't want to read these, but I don't know what's going on. Fine. I'll read it. It comes from this book. I swear. Anyway, let's do the stack. Stacking it up, stacking it up, stacking. This was not a great video, I apologize, but like I said, I've made this video 4 times and I have no interest in having to make it again. So here are the books that I'm planning on reading. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. There's 6 of them. 20, no, I have 26 days, 25 days to finish them, or at least 3, these ones. We'll see how that goes. Anyway guys, that was my video. If you enjoyed this, go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe for more, because we have 3 videos coming out every week regularly. You have my videos, which come out on Tuesdays. You have Kayleen's videos that come out late on Thursdays. And then you have a new show, I guess, that I do on Saturdays called Weekly Geek, where I talk to you about comics, graphic novels, and manga. Mostly comics, but the other 2 are in there as well. I'll be leaving a link to my Gone Girl rant down below, along with my first episode of Weekly Geek if you want to see that, and my Goodreads and the Book Buddies book club Goodreads. There's not going to be a book for this month, I don't think, due to the fact that we're busy and it's kind of hard to do a book every month, so we'll see about that one. But those will still be down there, and you can still click on them. So, anyway guys, I will see you all Saturday. Goodbye. Probably opened that a little bit too wide. Anyway.